This is Fifth Life Crisis, everybody. My name is Dennis Molina, and I'm your host. Today we have two special guests with us. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Got Ausar.NYC in the spot.
Yes.
J Infinity. It's good, it's
Dope,
good.
dope. So, Asor is a musical artist, and Jake is his producer slash engineer. Talk to me about this project you guys got coming out. What's the title of it, bro?
Alright, so the project is called Tired of Being Humble. I feel like that the title is like self-explanatory. We came up with the title together. And I feel like it is self-explanatory. I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of, being on the back burner. I'm trying to be in the forefront right now.
Put too much work in and not,
Honestly.
not express it, not show people, not like get it out there. So it's kind of a project we definitely both kind of wanted to like get a little more braggadocious about.
What made you want to go from like just a listener to like a creator? Like, what made you want to like put the pen down and say, "Yo, I have something to say"? What made you want to be the person that's getting heard instead of just being the person listening?
So at first, honestly, like it wasn't even about getting heard. Like I didn't even care. Like I could have had no listeners. It didn't matter. Really, what it was for me was like I was going through like some really serious life situations, and I don't like to like talk too much about everything, but and that was what drove me to making music. I didn't like to talk too much about all that stuff. So it's like, the amount of people who I've sat down and had those conversations with is very few. But
100%.
I've been able to put a lot of this stuff in the music, in the tracks, and like say my piece and be able to like get it out of my head, get rid of some of my frustrations, that way. So honestly, if you're curious to see, what's this dude talking about, what's all that was going on and stuff like that, honestly, you just gotta listen to the music, and see what it's about, cause it's all authenticity.
Talk to me a little bit about like your musical journey. When did you release your first project?
So
And how long have you been doing music too?
I've been doing music like since I was a little kid. I remember being, 12 years old, writing songs. They couldn't have been any good. But I was doing it. I was doing it. I dabbled when I was like 18. I had met somebody. We was making music together. And I released music back in 2015. But under a different name. I wasn't a sword back then. And at that time, like I was just like I had the music in me, but I was still figuring it out. I was still figuring life out and stuff like that. So my first project that I released as Ausar.NYC, I released that was just me and Look at Ausar. I released that in 2019. I had a single or two that I released before that. But 2019, that's when I really started to make music, like seriously, and really, I really try to do something with my music.
What about you, Jake? How long have you been producing and engineering?
So producing music, I started my freshman year of college, so 2 years ago.
Dope.
Yeah, so I haven't been doing it for too long, but I always wanted to get into it. I've always loved music, and I always liked how it made me feel, and I always wanted to kind of I always wanted to make something that made everybody else feel a certain way as well.
Facts.
So that's really what got me into it, and ever since I started doing it, I fell in love with it. But I've been producing since I started freshman year of college. Beats were horrible until probably like last year.
I'm not gonna hold you. When I met Jake and I started to hear the work that he was producing, more time I was getting most of my beats over YouTube. I knew a producer here or there that I was like messing with, but for the most part I'm getting my beats off YouTube. And that can be hit or miss, and then you gotta deal with the whole process of either you're gonna buy a beat or however you're gonna go about that. But when I met Jake and I saw his work, and I just saw like his versatility, and how well he was able to work with different artists, I'm like, nah, my boy got it. And like since then, basically, at the beginning of the beginning of this year?
Yeah, it was the end of the first semester. We worked, I knew AZ, and that's how I met you. I met you through AZ. Shout out AZ.
So like for
a
quick couple of months, like
Yeah.
you know, honestly, Jake's been like the main producer I've been working on right now because he's just like phenomenal. He's mad humble too, and that's part of this album. You know, is he's tired of being humble too. You know, gotta pull him out of that. You know.
And it's good that you have a producer with you, because you know, like, you can only do so much with YouTube beats because they're already like finished and set in stone.
Right,
you know?
right.
The producer and engineer, like, they could tweak with like certain parts of the instrumental to like accentuate your voice and help you.
Facts, and we've done that, like especially on this tape, on this album, we've done that a lot. You know, like you know what, this is cool, but let's go back and let's do this and that, so we can really like tailor the experience and really get it like where we want it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that was a nice thing about even just like having each other to use. We both go to the same school. If we need to work together on a certain day, we could. So if we needed like ad libs for a certain spot, you know, we could record that out quick.
Knock that out, yeah.
You know, just like having the accessibility to work was a huge factor to helping get it done as well.
Sure.
Dope. Talk to me about the process of like creating this album. Like, where did it start? What were like the high points, low points of it? Because I could imagine it's like you're almost creating something from nothing, you know? It's literally what it is.
I'm gonna let him start with this.
Talk to me about that, bro. I really love listening to, like, because, you know, different artists work different ways, you know? Like, go for
so
it.
I feel like this album did not start as an album. You know, this album started out like I'm just working with my boy Jake. You know, he got some fire beats that we were, you know, I'm hearing, I'm recording over. Like, nah, this is hard. And then it got to a point where we had like 5 or 6 songs, and it's like, bro, this is low key an album. Like, we just need a few more songs on top of it. And then, you know, I'm about to graduate. Shout out to all my college graduates. You feel me? So I'm about to graduate, and I'm just like, yo, before, not to say like I'm done with music after I graduate or anything like that, but before I graduate, I feel like I need to give like that one like culmination of just like my time, because you know, in college, like, I changed a lot, I learned a lot,
100%.
had a lot of experiences and stuff like that, and I think that's definitely reflected in the music.
Alright, well, thank you guys so much for coming on. My name is Dennis Molina. I'm your host. Thank you to Ausar.NYC for coming. And my boy Jay Infinity.
Thank you for having us.
Right before we end off, what's one advice you guys would give to an aspiring musical artist, whether that's a producer, engineer, or a just like a vocalist?
I'm gonna go first.
Nah, you go first.
Definitely, this is gonna sound super cliche and corny, but don't give up. And I'm saying that, what I'm saying to back that is like, the first things you're gonna make are gonna be trash, and like that's discouraging, but you will definitely get to a point where it's good enough to where like even you like it and other people like it. And once you get to that point, after putting a lot of work, countless hours and effort into, because you have to do that, you have to do that to get to the point where it's good. But once you get to that point, it's super rewarding and like makes you want to do it a lot more. So my piece of advice would be to really just, if you do want to do it and seriously want to do it, don't stop doing it.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere.
Facts.
Right,
I
bro.
definitely hear that. For me, I would have to say my advice to a aspiring artist, producer, whoever is like, be yourself and be proud of yourself. Embrace yourself, because a lot of times like there may not be people who are gonna embrace you. There may be people who like, oh yeah, that's cool, but what such and such is doing is way better, you know, or whatever. And I feel like me personally in my journey, I spent a lot of time like second guessing, worrying about how things would be perceived and stuff like that, and that all plays into, you know, tired of being humble, because I'm just now getting to that point where I'm like, honestly, like, you know, I know it's lit. You feel me? Can't nobody tell me it's not lit. Somebody want to tell me it's not lit more time. Either it wasn't for them or they just a hater. You feel me? So that's what it gotta be, because I know what I got going on on this vibe.
Sure. You gotta have
so that's what I want to tell people is just make sure you know, like, you gotta find your vibe, and when you found it, make sure you know it's a vibe. Make sure you show it's a vibe, like, because nobody's gonna embrace you as much as you can embrace yourself.
No, 100%. You gotta stay true to yourself. You know, everybody's inherently different. You know, we kind of off rip, like, you're different from everybody else just as you are. You know, I feel like people get into crowds. You know, people become a part of the crowd. You know, you don't have to be that. That's not who we are built to be.
People get discouraged from like other people doing other things or succeeding at other things, and everybody's got their own life. Like everybody, they're at that point because of work they put in or because of stuff they've done to get them to that point. So don't compare your life to others because. You know what I mean? Like
Everybody's a weirdo.
Everybody's got their own interest.
Everybody's a weirdo. You gotta embrace it 110%.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah.
Facts. Follow me on Instagram, Ausar.NYC, AUSAR.NYC. The album is dropping this Friday.
Tired of being humble.
Tired of being
this
humble.
Friday. This
Y'all gonna see
Friday.
the post, like the post, comment, share, tag us in the stories. Ausar.NYC, J Infinity.
Yep, J Infinity on Instagram. If you need beats, engineering, hit me up. I'm down to work with anybody. So let me know. JAYINFINITY. So,
Fifth Life
thank you very
Crisis.
much.
Oh, I'm so sorry.